Rediscover joy, vintage ornaments that hold your cherished Christmas memories. Welcome to the Styled Space channel. I'm MJ, and I'm excited to spend this time with you. Today, we're diving into journey through a dream Parisian apartment where vintage ornaments become vessels of joy, memory, and timeless elegance. This is not merely a home tour, it's an intimate exploration of how cherished Christmas memories are preserved through carefully curated objects. Today, we celebrate the profound beauty found in simplicity, intention, and the stories held within vintage glass ornaments. Together, we'll discover how a minimalist Parisian aesthetic transforms small spaces into luxurious havens filled with warmth, soft light, and deeply personal meaning. If you love slow living, elegant design, and the magical intersection of heritage and modernity, welcome home. The console of memories, where vintage treasures sparkle. The moment you enter a Parisian home, you encounter a curated moment, a small tableau designed to set the emotional tone. Our console table becomes the stage for vintage ornaments that have traveled through decades, each one holding stories of celebrations past. The collection mixes sizes, textures, and finishes, frosted glass alongside clear baubles, metallic accents catching candlelight, and delicate hand-painted details speaking to artistry lost in mass production. This is the art of storytelling through objects. A single ornament holds an entire memory. The year your family celebrated abroad, the winter a beloved grandparent traveled to visit, the Christmas when everything felt perfect. These vintage pieces refuse obsolescence. They demand to be honored, displayed, and remembered. Emerald dreams, greenery and gold accents. Stepping deeper into the apartment, emerald and gold emerge as the color language of joy. Not the expected red and green, but something more sophisticated, the deep green of winter garden branches, the warm gold of candlelight captured in metallic ornament finishes. This color palette honors Parisian tradition while rejecting the commercially familiar. Deep emerald is the color of pine forests outside the city, of winter walks along the Seine, of vintage velvet fabrics that survived decades in attics. When paired with warm gold, not harsh brass, but aged, patinated gold that whispers rather than shouts, the effect is one of quiet luxury. These colors don't compete, they complete each other. The greenery reminds us that Christmas lives in nature, in forests, in the botanical world long before electricity and plastic factories. Real evergreen, dried botanicals, fresh natural elements create texture and authenticity. Soft glow theory, candlelight and vintage glass. Lighting is never incidental in a Parisian home, it is the substance of atmosphere itself. Candlelight transforms vintage glass ornaments into glowing jewels, their facets catching and multiplying light. The warm amber glow of a real flame, not the cold blankness of LED, creates shadow and depth, creating drama and intimacy. When candlelight passes through frosted glass, it diffuses into something almost mystical. Clear glass ornaments become prisms, scattering light across surfaces. This is why Parisians have historically resisted electric Christmas lights in favor of candles. The human eye recognizes and responds to the flicker of real flame with a primitive recognition of comfort and safety. In our apartment, candlelight serves dual purposes. It illuminates the vintage collection while simultaneously creating the emotional tenor of rest, contemplation, and ritual. Every evening becomes a ceremony when you must light candles to reveal your décor. The bookshelf gallery, ornaments as art objects. Moving through the apartment, we encounter shelves, and in Parisian homes, shelves are galleries. Each shelf becomes a curated exhibition where ornaments are treated not as holiday clutter, but as art objects worthy of museum-quality display. The composition of objects on shelves follows principles of balance, negative space, and intentional contrast. Here, a 19th century hand-painted ornament sits beside a slim volume of French poetry. A frosted glass bauble rests near a small brass sculpture. Empty space is sacred. It allows the eye to rest and each object to breathe. Parisians understand that abundance is achieved not through quantity, but through curation. A shelf with 15 carefully chosen objects tells a richer story than a shelf with 50 competing for attention. This bookshelf gallery transforms the functional storage unit into a museum installation, a constantly evolving exhibition of taste, memory, and refined aesthetics. Each visitor's eyes are drawn on a specific journey through the composition. Mantelpiece elegance, stacked heritage and warmth. The mantelpiece holds special status in Parisian design. It is the hearth, the focal point, the place where the past meets the present. Our mantel arrangement combines vintage ornaments with artfully stacked heritage books, allowing objects to create a vertical composition that draws the eye upward, honoring the architecture of the room. Candlelight flickers at the center, creating warmth both literal and emotional. Layered here are treasures: a 19th century German glass ornament, a French porcelain figurine inherited from a grandmother, thick volumes of literature, and fresh evergreen garlands that move gently in the apartment's gentle air currents. The mantel becomes a timeline, a family history told through objects accumulated over decades. When you light the candles at the mantel's center, you initiate a ritual of remembrance, of honoring the past while inhabiting the present. the warmth radiates outward, both physically and metaphorically, transforming the living room into a sanctuary of memory and comfort. Window light ritual. Ornaments catching afternoon gold. Parisian windows are architectural poetry, tall, elegant apertures that frame the city beyond while inviting abundant natural light to flow inward. During the day, these windows become stages for vintage ornaments, which are positioned to catch afternoon light streaming through glass panes. The ornaments become stained glass art, casting colored shadows onto interior walls when sunlight passes through their glass forms. A champagne-toned bauble catches golden hour light and throws a warm amber circle onto the cream wall behind. A frosted ornament diffuses light into soft luminescence. The interplay of natural light with vintage glass creates a constantly changing installation throughout the day. The display at 8 a.m. differs entirely from the display at 4 p.m. This natural dynamism gives the apartment a living quality, a sense that the decor is responding to the world's light cycles, dancing with the sun's trajectory across the city. Windows in Paris are never simply utilitarian, they are stage sets for the beauty we choose to display. The velvet chair moment. Small details, big impact. Comfort in a Parisian apartment is not incidental. It is intentional, textured, and deeply considered. In a quiet reading corner, a single velvet armchair in dusty rose or sage green becomes the anchor for intimate holiday moments. Beside this chair sits a small side table, and on that table, a carefully chosen vintage ornament, perhaps the one inherited from a beloved relative or the one purchased at a flea market that inexplicably moved you. The scale is intimate. This is not decor designed for impression, but rather for personal meditation and quiet joy. During the holidays, this corner becomes a sanctuary. You sit with tea, you read, you hold the vintage ornament in your hands, and recall the moment it first entered your life. The soft pile of velvet becomes tactile pleasure, the ornament becomes visual and tactile focus, the silence becomes auditory meditation. This small corner contradicts the cultural push toward maximalism and Instagrammability. Instead, it celebrates the quieter joys of solitude, reflection, and intentional living. Mirror magic, reflection and visual expansion. In small Parisian apartments, mirrors serve dual purposes. They expand spatial perception while also creating visual complexity and richness. When vintage ornaments are positioned near gilt-framed mirrors, the reflection doubles the visual impact without requiring additional objects. A single vintage ornament becomes two through reflection. A small vignette becomes expansive. The mirror's gilded frame adds warmth and luxury to the display, its aged patina suggesting centuries of Parisian history. The ornament's reflection catches light differently than the original, creating subtle variations that engage the eye. This optical illusion of abundance, achieving visual richness through reflection rather than accumulation, perfectly embodies the Parisian principle of doing more with less. The mirror also serves a symbolic purpose. Reflection invites self-examination, memory activation, and deeper thinking. When you gaze at a vintage ornament's reflection alongside the original, you are seeing past and present simultaneously, original and echo, reality and memory. Bedroom dreams, nightstand nostalgia. The bedroom in a Parisian home is sanctuary, a place where rest, solitude, and personal memory converge. The nightstand becomes an intimate display surface, visible only to the inhabitant during those quiet hours before sleep and upon waking. Here, a single vintage ornament sits beside a warm ceramic mug, a leather-bound journal, and a slow-burning candle. The choice of ornament is entirely personal. There is no concern with impression or decoration for others' benefit. Perhaps it is the hand-painted German ornament your grandmother cherished, or the frosted bauble purchased during a transformative winter. In the bedroom, vintage ornaments take on different meaning. They are not social display, but private conversation, not public statement, but intimate reminder. You reach for them in moments of contemplation, holding their cool glass surfaces, recalling the specific moment they entered your life, the Christmas, when everything felt perfect, or the year you needed hope most. The bedroom nightstand ornament becomes a talisman, a touchstone for memory activation and emotional grounding. Kitchen heart, tiny table, big story. The kitchen in a Parisian apartment is often the most intimate gathering space. Here, morning coffee is sipped slowly, dinner preparations become meditation, and small moments of connection happen naturally. The tiny dining table becomes stage for vintage ornament display, not as tablescape decor, but as conversation starter, memory activator, and visual anchor for daily moments. Perhaps the table holds a runner of ivory linen, and upon it sits a narrow vase with winter greenery, small vintage ornaments collected over years, and candlelight that flickers during breakfast. This arrangement is not reserved for entertaining. Rather, it is the everyday aesthetic of the household. The Parisian approach refuses to segregate beauty for special occasions. Instead, beauty is woven into daily living. eating breakfast while gazing at a frosted vintage ornament, and candlelight transforms an ordinary morning into something ritualistic, intentional, luxurious. The kitchen becomes not just functional space, but emotional and sensory space, nourishing not just the body but the soul. Hallway heritage, linear shelf compositions. The hallway or narrow circulation space in a Parisian apartment is often overlooked, treated as mere passage between important rooms. Yet in our approach, the hallway becomes gallery, a linear exhibition of vintage ornaments displayed on floating shelves or narrow ledges. The elongated format demands a particular compositional strategy. Objects must be arranged to guide the eye naturally from beginning to end, creating rhythm and visual momentum. A frosted ornament positioned at a focal point catches the viewer's attention. Beside it, a smaller clear ornament creates visual breathing room. Further along, a hand-painted piece anchors the composition with detail and warmth. The progression along the hallway becomes a narrative, beginning with introduction, developing through middle ornaments, and concluding with a piece that feels complete and satisfying. This approach transforms a utilitarian hallway into museum gallery, where everyday passage becomes a curated experience of beauty. The narrow walls actually become asset, forcing intimate engagement with each object as you move through space. Balcony breezes, outdoor Parisian nook. The balcony in a Parisian apartment is a threshold space between the intimate interior and the vast exterior city, between private and public, between stillness and motion. Here, in this liminal zone, vintage ornaments take on new meaning when displayed against the backdrop of Parisian rooftops and distant light. A tiny potted evergreen tree, adorned with a handful of vintage ornaments, becomes focal point. Candlelight, protected in a hurricane glass or lantern, flickers in response to the city's breeze. Fresh air mingles with candlelight and evergreen scent, engaging multiple senses simultaneously. This outdoor display refuses to hide beauty away in interior rooms. Instead, it celebrates it openly to the urban context. A passerby on the street below might glimpse candlelight and ornaments through evening darkness and feel a moment of unexpected beauty. The balcony display is simultaneously selfish for the inhabitants' evening enjoyment and generous, a gift of beauty to the city. This is the Parisian ethic, creating beauty not as commodity or status signal, but as natural expression of appreciation for living well. The gift box display, wrapped memories and ornaments. Where ornaments and wrapped gifts converge, a powerful visual narrative emerges, one of past holidays celebrated and future holidays anticipated. The gift box display combines vintage ornaments with beautifully wrapped presents, creating temporal layering. The ornament represents Christmases previous, the wrapped box represents Christmas present or anticipated. When vintage ornaments are arranged among wrapped gifts, they become storytellers of transition, from one year to the next, from one era to the next, from one generation to the next. Wrapping paper in neutral tones, cream, ivory, pale gold, soft craft, maintains the refined aesthetic while warm ribbon and natural twine add texture and warmth. A vintage ornament nestled beside a wrapped box creates visual metaphor. The ornament is the preserved past, the gift is the present moment, and together they suggest continuity and care. This display is typically positioned under a small tree, on a low shelf, or in a corner where it draws the eye without dominating the room. The juxtaposition of old and new, preserved and anticipated, creates emotional resonance and celebration without excess. Closing luminescence, gratitude and glowing memories. As evening falls across our Parisian apartment, candlelight multiplies in the console, on the mantelpiece beside the reading chair, on the balcony near the window display. The apartment transforms into something luminous, something almost sacred in its beauty and intention. The vintage ornaments, illuminated by accumulated candlelight, seem to glow from within as if they themselves are generating light rather than merely reflecting it. This final vision brings us full circle. From the moment we entered the apartment as guests, we now understand that every surface, every object, every carefully placed ornament exists within a comprehensive philosophy of living. This is not decoration in the commercial sense, it is life itself, elevated to art. The Parisian apartment celebrates the rediscovery of joy through vintage treasures, through the marriage of past and present, through the rejection of excess and the embrace of meaning. These ornaments are not commodities or status symbols. They are vessels of memory, anchors of family history, and reminders that true luxury lies not in accumulation, but in intention, not in noise, but in quiet presence. Welcome into memory. Thank you for joining this 30-minute journey through the possibility of a life lived with intention, beauty, and deep respect for the past. We have walked through rooms illuminated by candlelight, paused at ornament displays that hold centuries of artistry, and learned that slow living is not a luxury. It is a choice anyone can make. The vintage Christmas ornament is not merely an object. It is a time machine, a memory keeper, a bridge between generations. When you display these treasures in closing, remember this truth. You need not transform your entire life to embrace beauty, memory, and intention. Begin with a single vintage ornament, a candle, and the decision to slow down. From that small beginning, a philosophy emerges, and your apartment becomes not just where you live, but who you are.